Atheist Alliance International podcast.
I don't make this stuff up.
You know, if you put Jesus Christ first, that he'll look after all your bills.
It's not fake, it's faith.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the AAI podcast. I'm Jason Sylvester, aka Diogenes Mayberry, and joining us this week is a activist from India by the name of Hussain, and he's here to talk about a couple of organizations he founded. But just before we get started, I'd like to remind everybody to like and subscribe. So good morning, Hussain, and thank you for joining us.
Yeah, very good morning, and thanks. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, so you're the founder and executive member of two organizations, NCR India and ExMuslims of Kerala. So why don't you tell us a little bit about those organizations?
As you might be knowing that India is known for the cultural diversity and the kind of the traditions we followed all these years. But in the recent years, we have seen a much different picture in our country. That is, the communal riots and the communal tensions getting built up in different parts of the country, and a lot of things going on in the name of religion, and the whole idea of secularism is getting buried. Okay, so we as a citizen of this country, we decided, we means I and some of my friends who live in this part of India, where you might be knowing that Kerala is the southernmost part of this country, southernmost state of this country. So we formed a group, and actually this was wholly supported by the social media platforms, especially the Facebook. So we formed certain groups, and we were getting engaged in discussions, and we were discussing about various aspects. And the first thing that came to us was the religion called Islam that was under question. So we decided to do something against it, especially for the atrocities committed by Islam as a religion in the personal life of the people and as a social problem. So that's the most important thing which we are trying to address in this period of time. So we decided to form the first group, that is ExMuslims of Kerala. That was an online group, and that was formed in an online group in Facebook. And that was formed in 2019, and after that we decided to make it an authority of speaking against these kind of atrocities committed by Islam, exposing the fallacies and the problems created by Islam and all such things. So we registered the organization very recently, and it is now completely official, and it's now under the government jurisdiction that we are operating right now, and it's getting registered in Kerala. So that's regarding the Kerala organization for ex-Muslims. And along with that, when we talk about this ex-Muslim movement, there were a lot of people asking us, is there any organization for us? We are not Muslims, but we need an organization to which we can be a part of, and we can stay connected, and we can talk about the social issues faced by us like that. So for that, then we decided to form another organization, that is Non-Religious Citizens. And it's the home for all the people who have come out of their respective religion, whatever be the religion, and even if they were not born into any religion, they can be part of that. So you might be knowing there's no one called any religious person by birth, because all of them are born into some kind of religion at some point of time. So these two other organizations, which I am a part of right now, and actually I'm a part of the founding members, and we have a very handful of members and active colleagues to me for carrying out all these activities, and we are now completely engaged in this kind of social activism. Yeah.
Okay, so are there, demographically speaking, the distribution of Muslims in India, is it fairly diverse, or are they concentrated in specific areas? Like is Kerala more of an area that would have more Muslims, or what's the distribution like?
Yeah, when considering that aspect demographically, I would say that India has a pretty good number of Muslims living, but as you can see all over the world, there's a pattern for Islam or for the Muslims, that is, they will be concentrated in some pockets of the land, and they will be engaged and they will be staying connected, and that's part of their existence, and that's the nature how this Islam thrives in the world, and that is same with Islam in India as well. So in that aspect, I would say that Kerala is having a pretty good number of Muslims, and it's almost above 14%, and it's close to 20%. Okay, so that means when comparing with other parts of India, we have a pretty good percentage of Muslims living in Kerala, and for that reason, there's an increased number of incidents of people getting recruited to the extremist groups from Kerala, especially to the ISIS and some other groups like that. And that was the time when I was thinking about what could be done to stop these kind of activities, and why the people are getting attracted towards these extremist ideologies, to which people, once they fall into, it's very difficult to get them back. So, yeah, the number of people in Kerala born into these Muslim families, it's pretty high in India, in Kerala, and compared to the whole country. And one another thing is, considering the lifestyle or the quality of life living by these Muslims in Kerala is much far better than the other Muslims in other parts of the country. So there's a very much difference between the Muslims in Kerala and the Muslims in other parts of the country. So that's one reason why we are able to do all these activities without hurting much religious independence, because all these things are taken in a good manner, because almost all of them are educated, and it's easy to carry out these kind of democratic discussions and debates and all kind of things. So that's how we.
So these events of extremism that you mentioned, are they taking part in other areas then, where they're a smaller percentage of the population, or if they're fairly well-to-do in Kerala, that I would presume that some of the extremism isn't there, it'd be somewhere else?
Somewhere else in the country, other than Kerala. Yeah, from every other states we are having a good number of people, but when comparing the total number of all the people who had gone to all these extremist groups, the majority is from our state. That's the problem.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So what are some of the examples of things that have happened recently there?
Yeah, very recently we had a news from Afghanistan where a few of the wives of the extremists who had flown to Afghanistan from Kerala, they were trapped in Afghanistan, they were jailed. Okay, and they were seeking the permission to come back to India. So there were almost four women who were trapped in Afghanistan, and they were converted from Kerala, and they were taken to Afghanistan for these kind of activities, and they wanted to come back. And there was a whole debate whether to take them back or not. So that was the very recent incident which I remember right now. And there are many other as well.
Okay. So if the percentage, you're about 20% of the population there, the Muslims. So have you received some pushback from that segment of the population there, that you're being ex-Muslim? Are they branding you as apostates and threatening you, or it's not much of an issue?
Obviously, we have such pushbacks and such defenses made by them, and but to speak frankly, that kind of defense or that kind of threats made by them is much better these days, especially after the advent of this social media, because that's not easy for them to do. Because our style of propagation of these kind of activities, or the way we do all these discourses, is like we are just exposing the scriptures and the errors in it, and how that is taking our lives, the social lives of the people, backward. We are exposing that. So they cannot deny it with just threats or mere pushbacks. They cannot do it. So if they are doing it, they have to come up with some valid proof or evidence to support their ideologies. Just like for an example, I can say, now we are sitting today and we are celebrating the New Year, and almost a week back we were celebrating the Christmas. So you know how these Islamists or the Islamic extremists, they talk about all these things, because it's haram to celebrate all these things, and it's it's utter nonsense to say such things in the public, in a democratic society or in a secular society, to not to celebrate such festivals or celebration, and citing the religious reasons for not to do that. So we oppose that. So when we oppose that, citing the way these Islamic scriptures or Islamic teachings are creating problem in the society, they are just abusing us, and they are just coming up with some techniques which is outdated, just like making some verbal abuses or some threats. Other than that, they are not able to defend it because they are getting exposed of not being secular and of not being qualified enough to live in a modern world like this, where we value secularism, we value democracy, and we value personal freedom. Okay, so that's the kind of exposition that we are making, and they are short of techniques to push back. So obviously we are succeeding in it, but still we are facing the pushback.
Okay. And so do you have some, like, I would assume there are people who are leaving some of these extremist families, or maybe just leaving a moderate Muslim family who are looking for community, and they're coming to you guys for, some support, or, at least some level of, social network, to put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you were asking, someone is coming to us for the support?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. We are getting a lot of inquiry and lot of requests to support, and more than support, what they need is most of the people are clueless about how to do this. Okay, so they are having this problem in them. That is, there's something wrong with all these beliefs, and there is no point in believing in a God. They know that, but they don't know how to express it and how to deal with the family members. When they announce it, obviously the family will be hostile towards them, and they are not able to make their point clear so that they can make a smooth transition. So for that and all, we are giving a lot of support and a lot of techniques, or some what we call some pro tips how to do that in a professional manner without hurting anyone. And for that, we used to give share a lot of information for that.
Okay, so you're providing a support network, and
yeah,
I know that's important in other communities.
Yeah, in a word, it's a kind of moral support for them.
Yeah, we're seeing that a lot, both at AAI with the Atheist Support Network. Personally, I know people who've left shunning religions like Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses. So having a secular organization to come to was quite literally life-saving for them, that there was somebody there who thought like them that could replace some of that family structure and support. So it's an important thing to provide. So I'm glad you guys are there doing it. So are you're growing fairly regularly, or are you comfortable talking about your membership statistics, or that's something you'd like to keep private?
No, the only thing is the number is getting adding up. So right now what we have is official membership and unofficial membership. That is, there's a channel for people to take official membership by paying a yearly membership fee and all. So in that aspect, we are slowly getting some good numbers, and that will take time. And we are aiming almost 10 lakh or 1 million subscribers in 2 years. That's what we are expecting for non-religious citizens. Okay, so that's what we are expecting right now. And I think if we push hard for getting that number, it's possible. So we are working for that. And for ex-Muslims, it's purely unofficial right now. And we have more than 1,000 members right now who have registered broadly with us. Like they have not given their name, but they have already, we are in touch with them in various platforms. It's more than 1,000.
Okay. And NRC, so you say up to 1 million, so that this is a growing trend there in India.
Yeah, definitely. I won't say that it's a growing trend in India, but it's definitely a growing trend in Kerala. That's what I'm saying. Because in India, when we talk about all these things, there's a lot of other things to be discussed. Because, being able to discuss all these things or to think about all these things, we need a kind of social welfare system. And that's not uniform in India, where people are running for meeting their ends to meet. So we cannot go and tell them that what you are believing is wrong when they are running for their bread. That's not practically possible. So, but right in Kerala, we are able to do this because there is a kind of a minimum social security and social welfare system which we are enjoying right now, and that's one reason why we are getting enough time to do all these activities, and people are able to understand all these things. So I cannot say outside India, I can outside Kerala, I can do all these things.
Okay.
Right now,
So, so
Kerala.
when you say 1 million, that's just in Kerala. That's not nationwide.
No, it's in Kerala.
Okay. All right. That's a pretty substantial goal for one state. So okay.
Yeah.
So is NRC only focused on Kerala then? You're not looking because it's national. It's like the is national. So, but you're mostly focused on Kerala.
Yeah, definitely it's a national organization. There's no doubt in that. But right now we are focusing on Kerala.
Okay.
So
Right.
because we need to create a model first. Then only we can show to other people that okay, there is something happening in Kerala, and there's a trend there that is if something happens in Kerala, other parts of India they slowly start getting an attention towards all these ideas, and they start learning all these things, and slowly they will take up. So it's like we are a kind of models to be created, and we are ourselves a model, and by seeing us, other parts of India, they are taking up things. And there are many other things where Kerala is a model for them. So we are creating this also as a model.
So what sort of issues is NRC tackling in Kerala?
First of all, there is the first need is that to get an acceptance to live without a religion. So that's the first and foremost thing that we are eyeing for. That means we know that even in our census, the population census or all other governmental documents, we have to always fill a column where we have to mention our religion. So at first what we are trying to do is to add an extra column where we can mention that there is no religion there. So that's the first and foremost thing, that being non-religious is a normal thing. So that's the first thing. And apart from that, there are a lot of other things like to support those people who are affected by coming out of religion, and a lot of other things like that. So, and even after that, as a social support system, we are planning certain things to shape the future by training the kids and to support the old age. The both ends we are trying to support. So for kids, we are planning some science-based, this scientific temper-inducing schooling system, and that's for their elementary schooling that we are planning these kind of schools, and by that these students will be with us in their that perfect age for getting the new ideas how to lead a secular life for the future. We are planning for that, and towards the end of the life, people who are usually affected due to this kind of irreligious stance, that is, you are affected due to all these blasphemy and all kind of things that you are done. That's why you are suffering now. This is the usual curse made by the believers. So we don't want anyone to go through such torments in their end of life. So for that, we need to create a social support system, a end of life or age-old support system, or their retirement home kind of support system. That's what we are aiming. So these are the major points which we are focusing on.
Well, these are some pretty ambitious goals. So,
Yeah.
but with a million people, it'd certainly be more doable. So, on the issue of the government documentation, how long do you think it'll take to drive something like that through? Is it highly bureaucratic there, and it's going to take a decade, or this could be something that could happen in a year or two?
We are expecting that to happen in a year or two, because these years there is a lot of discussions going on, and I think the government is watching us. So we are trying for that, and there are some models created by some individuals in other parts of the country, especially in Tamil Nadu, where they have received these kind of non-religious certificates through court orders. So we are trying to replicate that, and we are making that, trying to make that as a government rule to be non-religious. So I think that can
Yeah,
happen in
I
one or two
remember.
years.
I remember seeing some of the news items on those court orders. So that it hasn't spilled over then to become a normative thing where it's just you're having to push to get this on the forms. They
Yeah.
haven't undertaken to do this on their own.
They won't do it. There's only, it's like the milk is served to only those who are crying. Okay, so that's how things work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you expect much resistance then, or if you think they'll be pretty accepting of doing this because you're crying, so they'll give you the milk?
Actually, when we speak about the resistance, what we are expecting or what we are trying to prepare ourselves for facing this resistance is not from the believers or from the religious institutions. That's not the resistance we are expecting. The resistance which we are expecting is from the political parties right now operating in India, because they, even though they are in power and they are calling themselves up as secular, in effect they are not secular. So what we are trying to do and what we are trying to propagate is the true essence of secularism. But all the political parties right now, they are just appeasing all these religious minorities or the religious majority, and they are trying to do things based on the religious influences. So when we are putting forward these kind of activities, it's actually questioning the political ideologies right now operating in India than the religious ideologies. So the resistance we are expecting is from the political parties, not from the religion.
Okay. So the people who've been watching the news know that the BJP is in power nationally, but they also control several states, and there's been this rising Hindu nationalism. So is BJP in power in Kerala?
No, never.
Never. Okay.
Yeah.
And they're not
But
likely to.
Yeah, we have successfully stopped the COVID-19 virus and BJP, both.
Okay. So they don't stand much chance of being elected there.
Never. I can guarantee that they will never ever come to power in Kerala. Just because that's the reason why what I was telling in the beginning. That is, the people here in Kerala, they are sensitized politically. So, and they are educated as well. So when we talk about some things, even though we get some pushbacks in the beginning, the people are learning constantly. So it's not easy for the BJP to propagate these kind of communal ideologies and to come into power, that's the technique which they used in the North India or outside Kerala, how they utilize that technique to come into power. That's not going to work in Kerala. That's why I'm damn sure that BJP is not ever going to be in power in Kerala.
Okay. So the Hindu nationalism that they're stoking is not much of an issue down there?
Of course, that's an issue as a matter of debate. It's discussed almost 24/7. Okay, so that means all other people are vigilant against how this majority or Hindu nationalism and Hindu extremism is growing among our people. So since it's a huge, a hot topic, people are almost aware of all these things, and yeah, definitely that's how we are stopping the BJP as well.
Yeah, but there are not a lot of examples of Hindu extremism in Kerala, like there are in other states.
The kind of tensions created by them.
Yeah.
We cannot pinpoint things because it's very rare. That's how I would say.
So it does happen, but it not like in other states.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So what are your thoughts overall on this? Is this something that's going to kill itself off? Like a lot of people talk about in the U.S. like the social justice warriors that they're going to just cannibalize themselves. Like they've gotten so extreme that they're going to kill off their own momentum. So do you think that's something that the BJP is going to do, or do you predict that they might continue growing in strength, or just what are your thoughts overall?
When talking about the growth of BJP or the Hindu nationalist extremists, the growth, I think the NRC movement or the ex-Muslim movement in particular is actually dampening their growth, because actually when we were talking about this Hindu nationalism and all such extremist activities, majority activities, extremism, we were always pointing the fingers towards them, and we were these minority communalists or the minority extremists. They were growing themselves. That was happening in Kerala or all over the country. But now we are criticizing, especially the ex-Muslims or the free thinkers who are doing all this religious criticism against Islam. That is now creating an air of discussion or a thought among other people to think about or to introspect in their religion. And that's helping them to come out of their religion as well. And especially for these nationalists or these kind of religious extremists from the majority religion or the Hindu religion, they are also coming out. And I think very recently we got a message in our groups and under our comments, not a single message, many messages like, I was a staunch RSS supporter or a Hindu activist, but now I left that because of the activities that you are carrying out, and I realized that there's no point in this kind of nationalism. So that's what I'm telling. Our activities, especially the ex-Muslim movement, is creating a void among these kind of Hindu nationalists to leave that and come forward as true secularists. So that's the kind of activity that we are, the kind of outcome that we are creating. So I think, So I think if we keep doing this, the outcome will be much more better.
Okay, so you're leading by example, and the Hindus are saying, hey, if the Muslims can speak freely, then we should be able to as well. So, okay.
Definitely, one more thing is that usually these Hindu nationalists, they are spreading the kind of fear that the Muslims are the people who are always wrong, and they are the troublemakers. So it's kind of Muslimophobia that they are creating. Okay, so it's an anti-Muslim bigotry that they are creating, and that's how they were cashing in on these kind of electoral politics. So when we came into our organization and we were doing all this, there was a division, there was a contrast made between Muslimophobia and Islamophobia. So we were telling, okay, we need to create Islamophobia because Islam is indeed phobic, indeed a fearful thing. We need to be fearful of that. So we need Islamophobia, but we don't want Muslimophobia because Muslims are the victims of Islam. The first victim of Islam is Muslims themselves. So we need to save them. So that's what we are doing. And when you say that Muslims are the problem, that's a bigotry, and we cannot do that. We cannot align with you. So you need to you need to clear that. So that's how we were making our stance clear, and now that is getting a momentum and it's getting accepted by more people.
Okay. That's some noble objectives you guys have. So, okay. So any other topics you'd like to discuss, or you've pretty much covered everything that you guys are working on?
I think I have given all the main points and examples which I would like to, because among this, the main one was the support system that we were planning for the children and for the aged people. That's one of our ambitious project, and for that we are looking for some great supporters to take that forward, because that requires much investment and a very good team a full-time team for conducting that. So that's one of the biggest project, and I think we'll be able to make it happen in the near future. Maybe in next 5 or 10 years, we are planning to do that.
That's great. That's a noble objective, and like you said, if you can grow to a million members, then you'll certainly have with just the membership dues that will help a lot. But you'll certainly have mobilized a lot of popular support behind you. So great.
Definitely.
It sounds you guys have got some great issues. So yeah, we should probably catch up again in the next year or two and let us know how you guys are progressing.
Yeah, definitely. I would love to.
Okay.
Give you
great.
the updates.
Great. Well, thank you for coming on to our show this week, and it was great to chat with you and learn about these great projects you guys are driving. So I'm glad you guys are there, and hopefully some of the people on our channel who are maybe in India who don't know about you guys will watch this and see it, and will come seek you guys out.
Sure, thank you, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Hussain. All right. So thanks everybody for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you all in the coming weeks. And a happy 2022 to everybody. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Okay, thanks for listening, and don't forget we're on YouTube, so follow us on YouTube. Just search for Atheist Alliance International, and please subscribe and hit that notification bell. We're also on all of your favourite podcast platforms, so make sure that you follow us on there as well. See you next time.